I've met like 3 people from the helpline in 10 years, and 2 of them are still clean from phone line calls. One of them's a girl here in our local area, and the other one was a girl from another neighboring area, and she ended up moving to Pennsylvania.
I was sat in my Sunday night home group in London one time, and this guy came in and took a 6-month chip, and he'd come into town, like 20, 30-mile train ride. He'd come into town specifically to come to my home group. I think because I mentioned in the conversation that, I go to the Sunday meeting in Victoria, and he showed up to take his 6-month chip at that meeting and introduced himself to me. And I nearly burst into tears. It was so amazing, but that happened once. And that's, that's what you get with helpline service, is that often it is the most anonymous form of service. You're not looking anyone in the eye. And in some ways that's great, isn't it? Because, I'm better with relationships, but they've never been my strong point. So that anonymous kind of comfort can be really good, I think, for some of us. It was really good for me when I first got here anyway.
Thanks, Nick.
Who has like a better understanding of how to operate the phone line after today? See, Mike and Courtney, Kate, Whitney. Mike and Courtney, what's like the main thing that you learned?
Mainly, this is all still new to me. So, I've been a volunteer on the phone line for a while. But really, I never quite went through the training for it. So it was good for me to actually do that. And I just learned a lot, like you said, about how to respond. And a couple of things like Charmaine mentioned, keeping a little sleeve with the crisis hotline numbers and the suicide hotline numbers for things like that. That was something I never really thought about, was that people would call with those types of things going on, and I probably should have, but so that brought that to light for me. And yeah, just really more than anything, how to do it, because I'm not the quickest person with what I say, and often I will say the wrong thing off the top of my head, so I kind of have to think about things before I say them. So that really helps for me to have those things kind of at hand, to more than anything not say the wrong thing, and how to respond correctly, you know what I mean? So that's one of the biggest things I took away from it.
Okay. Hands. So Dusty.
Here comes Courtney. Sorry. I wanted to kind of ask. I've had a lot of calls that I've answered where I have family members asking me like to identify drugs. And like, so I kind of wanted to ask the group, like, what are your responses to that?
So I would probably just say.
So I always like default to like, that's, what we do, like what Narcotics Anonymous is, and like how we can help as far as getting their family member to a meeting, and that we're addicts helping other addicts find a new way to live, and get to a meeting. So
Justin's not there anymore, but Justin had some great narc phone calls too. Like, I want to report somebody for doing drugs.
Yeah, I get a lot of those too, honestly. I don't know why. I'm like the last in the chain, or like one of the last in the chain, like as far as where it rings. But for some reason I get a lot of like narc phone calls, or like it's it's like a rock, and it's white and there was a glass pipe and like,
So what I would say is I would just kind of like quickly inform them what NA does and what NA doesn't do. And you can be like, I'm not sure about those drugs, but if you think your loved one has a drug problem, I can help connect them with a Narcotics Anonymous meeting.
right. I've gotten several of those and that's what I've done. So I just kind of want to get confirmation or ask, you know, other members like what their experience with that was. So
Yeah, I would be like, I'm not sure about any of that, but you know, if they decide they have a drug problem and want to come to an NA meeting, I can tell you where those are.
yeah. Okay.
I always love like the I don't know, I'm not sure answer is like one of my favorite answers because like you can just never go wrong with it, you know, like I don't know what that is.
They
So
get angry with me when I don't identify and I'm like, dude, just let me help your addict, not so
call the
anyway.
police. You can tell them to call the police.
Hey, just to drop in here for a second, guys. I think maybe we could go ahead and do a closing prayer, if that's okay, and then hang around and talk about all this stuff. I see Rachel, Matt, Dusty, everybody's got their hands up, but I know there's some people here in the gallery that got to go some places. So can we take a moment of silence to close this, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer? Moment of silence. God,
God,
grant us the
Grant me
serenity
the serenity
to
to
accept
accept
the
the
things
things
we
we
cannot
cannot
change,
change, the
courage
courage to change the things we
can,
can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today.
All right.